Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Hinterland. Happy Wednesday. Things have been happening. A little bit has gone on since we last were together. So straight away, I did finish planting sunflowers, and I also got the field rolled. Actually, I'd hired help do most of the work for me because while the hired help was getting it done, I went on a collectible finding spree. I actually don't know how many I found now that I think about it, but you can see it did definitely add some funds to our account. And I believe, yep, there's a dozen left to find, but I found quite a few more in amongst these here trees areas. Kind of getting used to where Omatana has put things, so it's becoming a little bit easier for them to find them. Also, my apologies for yesterday's, yesterday's kind of disastrous episode with this planter. Confusion had me going 6 ways to Sunday. So I did a little more playing around with this thing, and I was onto something with these dual tanks back here. Unfortunately, the game, and I hope Giants recognizes this and maybe does some adjustments on the next version. It would be really, really nice to be able to somehow have in situations where you've got dual tanks like this, the game just recognizes one tank or the other, and sometimes it's a crapshoot. I did find if I have just the planter attached to the tractor, it will fill seeds, not fertilizer. If I attach the front end to it and have both attached, it will attach fertilizer and not seed, or it'll fill fertilizer, not seeds. Why, I have no idea, but you can't select one or the other tanks on this. Maybe if the mod author made those tanks separate selectable items, that would fix it. I honestly don't know, but now that I know what's going on with it, I can deal with it, no problem. We'll make sure if I want to fill this, I'll fill the planter first and then attach the front, and you can fill that if it needs to be filled. Yeah, or you can have a separate seed or fertilizer bag or pallet and force the thing to fill from that. Maybe that will work. I didn't really test that, but that might be an alternative option as well. Yeah, so that's it for that. So we've got money again. Hmm. We've got our field planted. I figured out the planter. Our animals are fed. The only thing left here now is to hop in the Voltra because I have something to show you. So once in a while, well, I always listen to my videos, at least for testing purposes, to make sure that things aren't too far out of whack as far as audio and so on. Do the best I can with what I have. I don't have a mixing board, a sound mixing board, or anything like that. So I'm just dealing with the headset mic and Shadowplay, NVIDIA Shadowplay. So I try to get it to sound as good as I can. Yesterday I was watching, but yesterday I kind of watched through most of the video. It was kind of painful even for me to watch going through that whole planter thing. One thing I find myself doing that I'm going to try and get better at is I have a tendency to not finish my thoughts. And it's probably confusing to you watching when I don't finish my thoughts. So I'm going to try and get better at doing that if I can remember to do so. So this is probably going to give you a pretty good idea right here of what it is exactly I found. So this was in the used vehicle marketplace. And it's going to replace this setup that we have. And I know that I mentioned that I don't really like the tow behinds quite as much as I do the attached. This will give us a considerably wider spread. And I'm finding as we're creating larger fields, yeah, some of the smaller equipment is just getting a little too painful to use. So we are going to sell our Kverneland setup sprayer and opt in for this pull behind. Is it Hardy, I think? And I'm going to go ahead and repaint and repaint. Repairs are all done. Heinrich's going to get us a good deal on those. And we are now the proud owners of this Hardy. It is a Hardy. Okay. The Hardy Centura line. Oh, yeah. That is going to be our new fertilizer spreader. We're going to continue to use the 82 Studios pull behind lime spreader cart for lime. And possibly we could even use it for herbicide if we needed to or need to. This thing probably would be a good herbicide spreader for us as well. But yet another new implement comes to the farm. We are just going with the flow. I honestly have not used... I'm not sure that I've even used this Hardy in FS22 yet, if I'm being honest. This might be a first for me. I know it's been around. I think this thing, something like this, I don't know if it's this exact brand or what, but has been around the game forever, for quite a long time. So I've definitely used this style of sprayer, but I'm not sure that I've used it in FS22. So what we're going to need to do is we need to hit our sunflower seed, our sunflower field, with some liquid fertilizer. Lovely. There's $6,200 worth of liquid fertilizer. Farmers must love that, right? I guess they're pretty used to it. I'll tell you, the biggest, I would think as a farmer, in general, you really have to be good at budgeting. Really have to be good at budgeting, right? Because I watch these guys on YouTube and, excuse me, they're going out and having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get seed and all this other stuff. I thought I smoothed that out a little bit better. I did smooth it out some more. Maybe I didn't smooth it out as much as I thought I was going to. See there, I just didn't finish a thought. See? I got to catch myself. These farmers have got to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And they've got to have the money available, right? In order to do it. And budgeting has got to be a serious priority for them. And I would be not good at that. Or get good at it very quickly. So we're going to do an A direction. We'll set our A point. And certainly we are way off on, let me get the direction. Let's scoot our center line way over. My boom is hanging over about 20 feet on the right. Let's see if we can get this lined up a little bit better for us. I overshot that a bit, didn't I? And we'll just fudge it over just a little bit more, just in case this field zigzags a tad as we go down it. Let me spin around and get lined up again, and we can get to spraying. We are getting quite close. Uh-oh. Oh, it is. Okay. For a minute there, it didn't look like we were getting our fertilizer sprayed down, but the edge already, I think, has a second application. Is this the speed, or am I underpowered with the Voltra? What is the rated speed for this sprayer? Where's my sprayers? Which one do we own? This one? 12 kilometers an hour. So we're a little under that. It probably could use Maybe a little more horsepower going up those hills, but we're pretty close to 12 here and there. Maybe we should throw the cloths at it, or can I move this boom up and down at all? Yeah, I can move the boom up and down. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to throw the cloths on it for a little more horsepower. This is the kind of field work I would think would be relatively meditational for me. Up until the point where I have to deal with fence posts, telephone poles, trees, basically any obstacle that I would most likely run into with these booms. I am going to assume this is set up like most of the ones I see farmers using, where they are breakaway. And they'll snap like a spring-loaded thing. It's kind of hard to tell how exactly they're set up. The ends definitely look like they are kind of a breakaway thing. And again, it's so hard to tell just by looking at it this way. But I looked up this thing online, and it's a biggin. We must be in an area where, yeah, there we go. Okay. Kind of a weird setup right now in this field as far as fertilizer goes, because some parts already had second applications, like through this strip here. Some of it was just the way I created the fields, I think, with the tools. We extended this field, so I think when I used maybe doing when I did like a double plow on it or something, it added a layer of fertilization or something like that to it. Brad, that's the wrong line. You need to be over on this line. Yeah, there we go. Fortunately, the GPS mod is fairly forgiving. Yeah, this is meditation work. This is the kind of work that's set it and forget it and enjoy the ride. Put some good music on, maybe an audio book or a podcast or something like that. And fortunately, this thing holds quite a bit of fertilizer because we are going through it pretty well. These are the days that I do miss precision farming. You don't, I guess I don't think about it until you're doing kind of work like this where you realize how nice precision farming is for saving costs on fertilizer and herbicide and even seeds, and how nice it is that it just makes those adjustments for you. It does a lot more accurate job instead of just this slathering it on and hoping for the best. Yeah, one layer, two layer, take as much as you want kind of deal. So we will be heading into, I think, what should be a relatively busy harvesting season here for us pretty soon. With the extra cash that we have from our collectibles, kind of doing a little consideration on more land. I think that's probably a smart idea. do some extending of our property. I was kind of thinking this area over here. We could go this way as well. This wouldn't be so bad. That would make a really nice field over there. I do want to continue to get our cattle count up. I think here in Hinterland, I'm going to focus more on the cattle, on our dairy cattle, than I am on the sheep. We can get our sheep pens filled up, but I think I'm going to focus more on getting us a large amount of dairy cattle so we can be milk czars. I don't know what you call it. King of the milk. I don't know. Something like that. And eventually we're going to want to get some new production going as well. Got a couple ideas on that. A sugar factory, I think, a sugar mill, I think will be a good idea. There's also a bakery mod that I thought looked kind of cool. I'm not certain about that one yet. It kind of requires quite a bit of personal attention and detail to it. Like you actually have to. It's kind of cool though. You have to actually like make dough, and then you take the dough and you put it in the furnaces, and it makes, I think it's cookies. Maybe it does bread loaves as well. But it's that kind of a deal. You have to have water, you have to have yeast, and all this stuff. And it's pretty cool looking in theory. Now, whether or not in practice it would be, there's a bucket for it right there. For the cookie and bread oven mod. There's the bucket. And somewhere, maybe in here, I have to take a look and see. Boy, I've got a lot of pallets. Yeah, here we go. So empty jars, salt, you have to buy salt. There's water. Here we go. The cookie box, the bread box. There's yeast. There's all kinds of stuff that comes along with it. Sorry about that. And some of it you'd have to buy, like unless maybe there's a yeast factory out there somewhere you can get. I don't know. There's not really any way to produce yeast that I know of, so you kind of have to buy some things like yeast, salt. But most of the other ingredients you could provide on the farm if you wanted to. But I thought that would be kind of a neat thing maybe to put down in the village and mess around with a little bit. I'm not thinking of it as a huge moneymaker for us as much as it would be a excuse me, a kind of a side hobby thing. I mean, we'll make money off of it, but an attraction for the tourists, I'm kind of thinking, you know. Greta's been getting on me about getting rid of the cow barn down there now that I brought it up. Her and Heinrich are all over it. See, I opened up Pandora's box because at yesterday's city council meeting, believe it or not, we actually do have a city council meeting here in Hinterland. It's me, Heinrich, Greta, and the girl from the animal dealership that I still haven't named. I think I'm just going to leave her as the girl from the animal dealership. I know, Tin Man, you've got some ideas for names. I appreciate that, but I think I'm just going to leave her as the girl that shall not be named. Yeah, they were all over me about that. I mentioned it, and that's all it took. So now it's like, when are you going to get the cows out from the village? When are you going to move them to your pasture? When can we start breathing normal air again instead of, the nasty cow air that we have to breathe? The tourists, I did bring this up, by the way, and I thought it was an important point. When we get tourists coming in off the boat, they know it's a farming community. They're coming here for that reason. They're coming here partially because it's the farming part. Of course, they're coming here just it's a beautiful country. They do hiking in the winter. They can do some cross country skiing, snowmobiling, that kind of thing. Tobogganing. But I told them it's nice to have like the cows up front because it's like a petting zoo thing for the kids. The kids see the cows, and they kind of enjoy that. And if we get rid of the cows up front, it kind of takes away from a little bit of the atmosphere. Well, they pretty much just dismissed that. I thought it was a legitimate point. I'm just saying. But I'm not going to tell them this, but it would be really handy. At least for me, it would be really nice to not have to drive into the village to feed 25 cows, if I'm being honest. I actually would prefer transporting them and getting them moved. And now that I've come into some gold and bumped up my bank account, this might be the time to do it. We'll have to figure out what's going to go in the place of the cow pen. Maybe that cookie and bread factory will fit. I'll have to do a little investigatory work to see what exactly is going to fit there and kind of figure something out. It'll probably be a factory of some sort or a sell point or something that kind of fits what we're trying to go for here. Who knows? A nightclub, an adult bookstore. That's what we should put there. I mean, come on. Hinterland doesn't have a red light district. Maybe we need to add a red light district to Hinterland. That would go over well. Hey kids, mom and dad, the family, sitting on the boat, coming up to the dock, thinking they're going to have a beautiful experience in Hinterland. We're going to go hiking. You're going to be able to pet some animals. Farmer Brad said that you can come over and see the sheep and the cows and the chickens. We'll eat at Greta's Diner, stay in a beautiful bed and breakfast upstairs. Oh, and by the way, next door there's an adult bookstore. That would be perfect, just perfect. I remember growing up in probably in high school time frame, driving by quite often. I had to drive by an adult bookstore on my way to my job that I had during high school. I worked at a retailer. Boy, wow, that was. I look back on that and it was just wow. Comb Liquidators. If any of you have ever heard of Comb Liquidators, congratulations. I'd be amazed if you have. Basically, they sold everything that the online shopping networks couldn't sell. So basically it was all just junk. Because if there are things that won't sell on an online shopping network, they've got to be pretty bad, right? I mean, people buy all kinds of garbage online. And these were things that they couldn't even get rid of on Home Shopping Network. Wow. Somehow the store survived and we managed, and I worked there for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Anyways, every day or anytime I would drive to go to work, I would go past this adult bookstore. And I started noticing the same vehicles out there all the time. And at first, when I started noticing this, it was kind of a thought like, well, maybe it's employee parking and it's just the employees, you know. But then I thought, wait a minute, how many employees does there have to be to run an adult bookstore? Now, this wasn't like a mega Walmart adult bookstore. This was just a small deal, not a big deal. So basically, maybe two. Maybe you got a manager. Well, actually, maybe three. Maybe you got a manager, a cashier, and a mopper, right? A janitor. Let me put it that way. A janitor. So maybe you got three people. Usually the cashier, because I knew a guy, by the way. Fun fact. Microsoft Exchange, Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, they call their servers Exchange servers. The Exchange server administrator at a place I used to work at an adult bookstore before he came an Exchange server administrator, and he had some amazing stories for us, and I won't get into those, but he was the cashier, and part of his duties were janitorial services. And I'm sorry, you couldn't pay me enough, but he was an interesting dude anyways. And I going back to the adult thing, I just started noticing the same cars, and I thought to myself, man, that's when I realized that there are people out there that, just that's their regular stop. They wouldn't exist if they didn't make money. That's kind of the way I look at it. They must make some money. But no, I'm not. I am not going to be placing an adult bookstore in Hinterland. It would be hilarious, though, if Giants allowed an adult bookstore mod into the in-game mod hub. Because I can hear it right now. I can hear DJ Goham doing his daily mod videos, or even Mr. CLP, and going through. Oh, we got a new Massey Ferguson. This looks really nice. New trailer set. Oh, and here's another 3-meter cultivator. And then finally, the adult bookstore from, porn modding or whatever it is. Oh, man, that would be hilarious. I almost feel like doing one just to see if Giants would let it slip through. I doubt they would. You'd have to name it something. You'd have to do something with it to kind of give it like a possible different, a possible different effect or a different name or something. I'm going to hit that tree. And let me reverse this bad mama jamba. Let's see if I can get this thing without jackknifing. There we go. And you'd have to figure something out, but you could probably do something along those lines. Figure something out. Let me get over this way. And I know in different countries it's looked upon, differently. I would say still here in the United States, there's a more conservative approach to that type of thing. There still is a more conservative approach, Whereas in some other countries, it's much more liberal. And maybe Giants would look at it and be like, yeah, it's about time, It's about time somebody came up, We've been thinking about doing this forever. We just didn't know if we could get away with it or not. But now that somebody else has done it, we don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to give us a little breathing room here on the end so I don't have to deal with those trees right there and wreck my sprayer. I'm enjoying this sprayer, mostly for the fact that it's getting the job done much faster than the old 18-meter sprayer would. I think this one's 33, so we almost doubled We almost doubled our spraying, plus a much larger capacity, which I'll tell you, sometimes capacity is a much bigger deal than width. Having to go back and refill can sometimes be a lot more bothersome than having to make more passes back and forth. But yeah, I'm liking this, Hardy. You're doing the job for us, buddy. That whole mechanism back there must just work to keep this thing level, and at least try and keeping it level as good as possible. I did do some smoothing through here because it was pretty horrific. And maybe it's good enough. We'll see when it comes time for plant or harvesting if I did a good enough job. But I'll be very happy, and it looks like it's going to make it. I'm happy that we got through this field on a single tank. That's very nice. So I'm going to do a little looking around and see if, kind of decide if we want to do some land expansions. We might buy some more cows. I know we just bought some cows, but it might not hurt to buy some more cows. We've got tons of TMR sitting waiting to be delivered. And then maybe we'll see. Got to keep an eye on our milk collection and make sure that we keep that emptied out. And who knows, maybe I'll get those cows shifted over to the pasture, make Greta and Heinrich and the girl from the animal dealer happy. I kind of want to wait until I decide what in the world we're going to put in its place, so it's not just an empty lot there. Hey, I think we got it pretty well covered. We do indeed. And these spots, Tin Man, I think you were onto something with these spots here. I found that these spots were areas where I didn't mow first. I'm pretty sure that's the difference. This was when I plowed this area under to extend this field. I was actually plowing under grass, meadow grass that wasn't cut, versus this having been mowed. This was not. So that appears to have something to do with those spotty areas. I'm not sure if they'll go away either. They might be permanently. They might be permanently spotty. I don't know. We'll probably have to wait and see after we harvest and put down a new application of fertilizer to see if that spottiness goes away, or that just might be something we'll have to deal with for ground texture. Oh man, I'm glad I put this bridge in. That is that has become very handy for us. So I think that's going to do it for this episode of Hinterland. I'm going to probably give our sprayer, doesn't look too dirty, maybe give it a quick wash and a repair and make sure we're good to go there. And we'll see what's next, what fun adventures lie ahead. Tomorrow is Old Family Farm, so looking forward to seeing you all back there. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for joining. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it. And of course, subscribe if you'd like. Take care of each other, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.